one rules all. Nothing has authority over it. It is God. It is Father of everything. Holy One. The invisible one over everything. It is uncontaminated. Pure light. No eye can bear to look within. The one is invisible spirit. It is not right to think of it as a God, or like God. It is more than just God. Nothing is above it. Nothing rules it, since everything exists within it. It does not exist within anything. Since it is not dependent on anything, it is eternal. It is absolutely complete, so it needs nothing. It is utterly perfect light. This is a text from the secret book of John regarding light. Today I'll be talking to you about light. And right away off the bat, I'm going to apologize for my hair. Hopefully sometime this week we can get that taken care of. The Gnostics believed everything was derived from a mind of pure light that they called the pleroma. The Gnostics were a Christian sect that was outside of the Christian understanding that we have today. You can read all their material on gnosis.org. Actually, I recommend doing that. And you can read all the texts for yourself. They're free to look at there. I've been there a few times. I'm going to try to explain how light functions as a metaphysical construct that bridges the gap between mental and physical domains. By examining its speed, wavelength, and frequency, we can know that light is thought. Light is the generator of existence, the medium through which the universe communicates, and the foundation on which space-time is built. At 3 times 10 to the 8th power meters per second, the speed of light is the speed limit of the universe. Nothing is faster than the photon. Photon is massless, meaning that it's maximally length contracted and maximally time dilated. That means a photon doesn't experience space-time, so it's purely mental, giving it no dimensions. It's dimensionless. There are some qualifiers to that, what we could get into later, but for the most part, it's dimensionless. Although photons are dimensionless, they play a big part in the space-time domain. Light doesn't move through space-time. Space-time moves through light. I'm not going to get into too much detail here, but according to Einstein's theory of special relativity, there is no absolute reference frame. And that's basically his whole, what he was trying to say about that is everything is relative to the observer. So the reference frame is dependent on the observer. Each observer has their own reference frame, so everything is relative to where the observer is and the speed at which the observer is traveling. This is false. In fact, I think Einstein tried to retract this theory after studying quantum physics. I believe I read somewhere. It's our position as Neogenians that light is the absolute reference frame. This allows us to forget about some abstract 3 times 10 to the 8th power speed limit, because everything is set to the speed of light. So we are going to set the speed of light as c, the constant. The velocity of light will be equal to 1. So it makes it much easier to figure everything else out if you set the speed of light as a constant for all observers, no matter their reference frame. The PSR requires the existence of an absolute reference frame to rationally anchor the universe. If everything was relative, there would be no objective reality and everything would be chaos. And the PSR says that there is no chaos. The principle of sufficient reason is what I'm speaking about here, the PSR. And there cannot be There cannot be any chaos. All right, according to the PSR. And this would lead to logical inconsistencies. Light is the absolute reference frame. Just to repeat that again. Although mental waves interact with space-time, they travel at the speed of light and do not exist within space-time at all. Although relativity uses a four-dimensional space-time, metarationalism uses the six-dimensional space-time, which is 3 dimensions of space and 3 dimensions of time, to keep relationships and velocity symmetrical. Yeah, 3 space, 3 time. Using Euler's formula, e to the ix equals cosine x plus I sine x, the cosine x represents space and the I sine x represents time. Dewey Larson proposed a theory connecting space, time, and light speed in a reciprocal relationship, emphasizing unity in their interactions. And I think this is why we use the complex plane and the 6-dimensional space-time with 0 as the ground, because the math really demands it, and that way everything is reciprocal and everything comes together. It's the only way that really makes sense, according to the PSR, is to do it that way. So the speed through space squared plus the speed through time squared equals the speed of mind squared, or Vs squared plus Vt squared equals c squared. Light equals mind. A wave traveling at c equals 1 is a mental wave, so that's light speed. A wave traveling at less than c is a space-time wave. So anything traveling less than the speed of light is dimensional. That means it will have difference and it will be a space-time wave. What I'm trying to say is that I don't know if light is the creator of reason or reason is the creator of light, but they're probably 2 sides of the same coin. A single entity coexisting. What I do know for sure is in the beginning there was light, mind, and everything else is a transformation of that. When these waves of light shift phase to become non-orthogonal, they combine with other waves, reducing velocities and creating difference in time dilation and length contraction. Here's where space and time intertwine to create the space-time fabric that we call the holos. And that's really all I can explain about light. It's a little bit different than the materialist view of light. They really don't have a lot of answers for what light is, besides what they've determined to be the speed of light. They don't have an answer for why light reacts differently than any other particle. And I think it has to do with the materialist view and the current scientific infrastructure not acknowledging that there is any mental domain whatsoever. They're kind of stuck in the space-time holos because everything that they observe is through senses. Anything that can't be observed through senses does not exist to the current science paradigm. And from what I read about Einstein and his special theory of relativity, he did try to go back and retract it, but by the time he wanted to do that, it was so widely accepted by science that they wouldn't have it, so they wouldn't listen to him anymore. Yeah, so I think that has a lot to do with why quantum physics really didn't take off. Once the science got into their lazy, easy, conceptual bubble of hard pellets bumping into each other, they didn't really want to dig into quantum physics for the most part. So in the next video we are going to be getting into more traveling and exploring of the holos, and take a little break from metarationalism. If you want to learn more about this subject and the other subjects, covered in the book Metarationalism. I suggest that you order it on Amazon or Kindle. And the next book, Cosmogenesis, will be coming out next week, I believe, or it should be this week. These videos are a week behind, just so you know. And yeah, check that out. And before I sign off here, I just want to show you, we got some new family members here. Little cactuses. So I did decide to go back to doing the videos from here because it seemed like my wife was happy that her plants were in the videos. So, all right, and I am not using this because the last video there was a lot of clicking, and I have a new phone right now and I could not even get that to connect. So hopefully it doesn't sound too bad with just the phone's microphone. With that being said, have a great week, be safe. Ad Astra, my friends.